Now let's do the lookup. We want to look up the employer contribution percentage. So the way that's going to work is I'm going to say if, and I'm going to test whether the data is complete. So we're testing if 816, if that, so this answer is already true, right? So the logical test was already performed in here. So we're just saying if 816. In fact, why don't we even step back one? We'll name this cell so we can always refer to it as a contribution test. Sorry, I meant a completeness test. So why don't we give this a name? As you know, we can go to formulas here, and since the title is right next to it, we could go to define name, but I'm not sure that's going to give me a name that I like. Is data complete? I don't know that I really want to use that. I'll just call it completeness test. Or I could say, is data complete? Could do it like that. And so now I have a name there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test, is data complete? If it is, then I'll go ahead and do the lookup of these values. So, equals if, and then I click on this cell, is data complete? And that's the full test. If it is, then I'm going to do a VLOOKUP. And I'm going to look up this employee contribution percentage. And I'm going to look it up in this table. And I need to go down to row 14. See, here's 13, which is 4%, and then 14 would be 5%. So I'm just testing. I'm finding this percentage in this table, and then I'm going to return the second column from that table, and then I will end it. There is another option there, whether it's an approximate match or an exact match. I won't take much time on that now. Just remember, an approximate match would allow you to put in numbers like 2.5 and it would return 2%, or 3.2 and it would return 3%. So it can handle numbers in between. If you choose exact match, it has to be exactly in the table. So if you put in 2.2, it would return an error if you're using an exact match. So I'm going to use an approximate match. That is the default, so whether you put that in or not, it will be an approximate match. If you don't want approximate match, then you have to use exact match. Another point is this lookup table, if you're using approximate match, that has to be in ascending order from lowest number to highest number. So let's finish that up, and I would then put in comma, double quote, and so what this says is, first I'm testing, is data complete? If it is, then do the lookup, find the correct corresponding employer contribution percentage. If it's not, then just return a blank. And I can hit enter. Good, so let's see if it's working. Let's change this to 4%. So if it were 4%, it would test is 4% bigger than, bigger than, bigger than. It gets down to here. Is it bigger than or equal to, I guess? Yes, it is. Bigger than or equal to 4%. Is it bigger than or equal to 5%? No, it's not. So an approximate match would go back to the last number and return its corresponding value. Now, one last thing. As you can see here in cell E14, I have this formula, and it's looking up in a table which is G10 to H14. One nice thing is you can go and name this table even after we've created the formula, and we can call it contribution table. So it's now named, but if you look at my formula here, the name didn't change. So a nice thing that we can do to apply any new range names is we can go up to define name under formulas, define name, and we can choose apply names. And contribution table is selected, But just in case, maybe all these haven't been applied in their respective formulas, I'm going to click all of them and hit OK. Now if you look at my formula, F2, you can see the word contribution table, that name is now in place of the cell references of G10 to H14. So that's kind of nice. So if maybe you go and create formulas and then later on put in range names, you can always come back later and use the define name, apply names function to bring in the correct names into your formulas and make them easier to read.